Okay, so think about that moment, when life just throws a massive curveball. Something totally unexpected lands right in your lap. Maybe it's losing a job or a health scare or something tough in a relationship. You know that feeling, right?
Right.
Your stomach just drops, your mind starts racing. That's the kind of struggle we're diving into today.
Right.
But we're not just here to sort of commiserate.
Yeah.
We really want to explore the surprising ways that struggle can actually be a catalyst.
Yeah, a catalyst for real growth, serious change in our lives.
Exactly.
And for this deep dive, we've been looking closely at the ideas from that YouTube video, The Art of Struggle by Queen. It brings up some really thought-provoking points on, how we navigate those difficult times.
It really does. And for you, the learner, our mission here is to kind of cut through all the noise, get right to the heart of what it actually means to navigate struggle effectively. We want to give you a clear understanding,
Yeah, make it accessible.
highlight some unexpected insights that might just click, and offer takeaways you can actually use, all without feeling like totally overwhelmed.
Right. We want you to gain useful knowledge, but efficiently, quickly but thoroughly.
Exactly. So let's get started. What is struggle, really, at its core?
Well, fundamentally, you could say struggle is that space, that gap between where we are right now and where we kind of want to be.
Okay.
It's that friction, that feeling of resistance when reality just doesn't line up with your desires or maybe your needs.
Right.
And it takes effort, sometimes a whole lot of effort, to bridge that gap.
And it pops up in so many different ways, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you might be facing a physical thing like recovering from an injury,
Sure.
or wrestling with really difficult emotions, grief, anxiety, stuff like that. Tackling a complex problem that just makes your brain hurt.
Yeah.
Navigating tricky relationships, or even like questioning your big beliefs, spiritual struggle maybe.
Exactly. You've got physical, emotional, intellectual, relational, spiritual. It covers a lot of ground.
But what's the common thing running through all of them?
Well, the common thread really seems to be resistance.
Resistance, okay.
Yeah, it's that sense that something is blocking your path, demanding your attention, your energy, pulling you somewhere you don't necessarily want to go.
Like trying to walk through really thick mud or something.
That's a great image, actually. That's exactly the feeling, that resistance.
Okay, so here's where it gets kind of counterintuitive maybe. The video makes this point that struggle isn't just a pain to be endured.
Right.
It's actually like a necessary condition for growth. And it uses that analogy of muscles.
Oh, yeah, the muscle analogy is perfect. They only get stronger when they work against resistance.
No weights, no game, right?
Exactly. No resistance, no strength development. It's a really powerful idea.
And it's not just a modern idea, is it?
Not at all. It echoes through, loads of different traditions. You see it in Stoic philosophy, the idea that facing challenges builds that inner fortitude.
Right, resilience.
And even in modern psychology, there's research showing how overcoming adversity can lead to, increased psychological toughness. It really is about how we respond to the difficult. That's what shapes us.
So, okay, we find ourselves in the thick of it. What's happening inside? What does that inner landscape usually look like?
Well, often those initial reactions are pretty primal.
Primal.
Like fear kicking in.
That's
That's our ancient alarm system, right? Signaling danger.
Yeah.
Anger can bubble up too, kind of a defense mechanism, maybe pushing back against whatever's blocking us.
Okay.
Despair can feel really heavy if the situation seems hopeless. And then there's shame, that little voice whispering that maybe it's our fault, we're inadequate somehow.
Wow, yeah. Those all sound very familiar. Now, the video talks about just noticing these feelings without judging them.
Exactly. That's so key. Just naming it, being able to say to yourself, okay, I notice I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now, or, there's that anger again.
And what does that do? Just naming it.
It creates a little bit of space, just a tiny bit of distance between you and the feeling.
I see.
It's like instead of being completely consumed by it, you can observe it.
Yeah.
And that space allows you to choose your response rather than just, automatically reacting.
Okay, so from that little bit of space, we can get curious, start asking questions.
Precisely. Self-reflection. Asking things like, why this trigger? What's really pushing my buttons here? Does this connect to anything from the past? What beliefs are getting activated?
It's like doing recon on your own mind.
That's a great way to put it. Reconnaissance, yeah. Gathering intelligence on your internal territory.
And it's not just mental, is it? The body gets involved too.
Oh, absolutely. Struggle shows up physically.
Yeah.
You might notice tense muscles, maybe in your shoulders or jaw. Fatigue, changes in sleep, appetite. Our bodies hold on to this stuff. Learning to read those signals, again, with kindness and curiosity is really important.
And speaking of kindness, self-compassion comes up in the video. Treating ourselves like we'd treat a friend.
Yes, which can feel really weird sometimes, can it?
Yeah, like we should be tough on ourselves to get through.
Right. But the video argues, and I think research backs this up, that self-compassion actually creates emotional safety. It lets us acknowledge the difficulty and our own imperfections without beating ourselves up. And that doesn't kill motivation. It can actually strengthen resolve because you're not so afraid of messing up.
That makes sense. It removes some of the fear.
Exactly. And as you get better at noticing all this, the feelings, the thoughts, the body sensation, you start to see patterns.
Like, oh, here I go again with this thought.
Precisely. Your typical vulnerabilities, your go-to reactions. That awareness is incredibly valuable for handling future struggles more skillfully.
It's like learning the early warning signs so you can prepare better next time. Okay, so we're aware, we're tuning in. What about actually, doing something, taking that first step? The video calls it the courage to begin.
Ah, yes, the courage to begin. That often takes real bravery.
Why? Because it's scary.
Because it often means moving towards the thing we'd much rather avoid, right? Towards the pain, the uncertainty, the risk of failure.
Yeah, our instinct is usually to turn away. Distraction, denial.
Totally. We look for escape routes, and that's, as the video points out, incredibly human. It's understandable.
But it doesn't usually help in the long run.
Often no. It just prolongs the underlying issue and maybe the suffering that goes with it.
So courage isn't about not being afraid.
Definitely not. It's about taking action despite the fear, despite the anxiety or doubt. It's feeling the fear and doing it anyway, as they say.
Right.
And look, while that decision to engage is ultimately personal, we rarely find that strength totally alone.
Ah, so support matters here too.
Huge. Seeing how others have done it, getting encouragement, seeking professional guidance from a therapist or a coach, that all contributes.
And connecting to our deeper reasons, our values. Does that help find the courage?
Absolutely. When you link the struggle to something that truly matters to you, your core beliefs, your purpose, the impact you want to have, it gives you a much stronger motivation than just wanting the discomfort to stop.
It gives you a why.
Exactly. And the video also brings up self-forgiveness.
How does that fit in?
Well, a lot of struggles involve looking back at our own mistakes or perceived flaws. The courage to move forward often requires accepting that imperfect past, not letting it define us now.
Realizing our worth isn't tied to being perfect.
Precisely. And ultimately, that first step, that courage to begin, it's an act of hope, isn't it?
Hope. How so?
It's not guaranteeing a good outcome, but it's a belief that engaging with the challenge is worthwhile, that the difficulty isn't the end of the story, that who we become through the process actually matters.
Okay, that's powerful. But that initial burst of courage is just the start, right? What keeps us going?
Right, that's where persistence comes, the daily practice.
It's not just one big heroic push.
No, not usually. It's more about the accumulation of all those small choices to keep showing up day after day, even when you're tired, discouraged, or just plain uncomfortable.
And the video says persistence works on different levels.
Yeah, it mentions the physical level, just showing up, doing the thing. The emotional level, like learning to coexist with discomfort without letting it derail you completely.
Okay.
And even the cognitive level, actively challenging those negative thought patterns that tell you to give up.
Wow. Okay, so how do we fuel that persistence? It sounds exhausting.
Well, one thing the video points out is recognizing and celebrating the small wins.
The tiny steps forward.
Exactly. They build momentum. They remind you that progress is possible, even if it's slow. It reinforces that feeling of capability.
And it's not about pushing constantly either.
No, definitely not. Finding a sustainable rhythm is crucial. Knowing when to push, yes, but also when to refuel, step back. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
And connecting back to that why again, the purpose.
That seems to be a recurring theme, doesn't it? Having that larger purpose, those core values, to anchor you when things get tough, really helps sustain the effort.
Makes sense.
And persistence also needs flexibility. Being willing to adjust your approach if something...
So not being rigidly stuck on one way.
Right. Asking yourself, okay, is this actually helping? Or what else could I try here? While still staying committed to the overall goal. That's vital.
It sounds like a lot of it is that unglamorous day-to-day stuff. The small, consistent action.
That's often exactly what it is. The deep breath, the choice to reframe a thought, the decision to rest instead of pushing through exhaustion. It might not feel heroic, but cumulatively, that's what gets...
Okay. Now, what about when, despite all this effort, we stumble, we fail? The video talks about learning from failure.
Yeah, and let's be real, in any meaningful struggle, setbacks are pretty much inevitable, aren't they?
Seems like it. It's not always one smooth path.
Not at all. And we're not just talking about failing the ultimate goal, but all those smaller stumbles, the things that don't work out along the way.
And how do we usually react?
Well, instinctively, often with shame, discouragement, beating ourselves up. Those reactions might have had some evolutionary purpose, maybe avoiding getting kicked out of the tribe or something.
Right.
But today, they mostly just get in the way of learning.
So the video suggests we need to change how we see failure.
Fundamentally, yeah, to normalize it, see it as a universal human thing, and more importantly, as incredibly valuable feedback.
Feedback. How?
Instead of thinking, I failed, I'm useless, asking different questions like, what exactly didn't work here? Why didn't it work? What can I learn from this that will help me next time?
So it shifts from being an endpoint to being data.
Exactly. It becomes information, a vital part of the learning process, not just a dead end.
And the video mentions taking responsibility, but also separating the action from who we are.
Yes, that's crucial. Owning your part in the setback is important for learning. But distinguishing between I made a mistake or this attempt didn't work and I am a failure is...
That creates psychological safety, right? To look at it honestly.
It really does. If you're not terrified of condemning yourself, you can actually analyze what happened much more clearly and figure out how to adjust.
Makes sense.
And having supportive people around you, mentors, communities who also treat failure as information, not judgment, that accelerates the learning massively.
So learning from failure actually makes us better equipped for the future.
Absolutely. More willing to try difficult things because failure isn't so catastrophic, and more resilient when things inevitably go wrong again.
It turns failure from a roadblock into just another part of the road. A bumpy part, maybe.
A bumpy part with useful signposts, perhaps. Now, we've talked a lot about our inner game, but the video really stresses the role of support, too.
Right, not going it alone.
Definitely not. That whole myth of pulling yourself up by your own bootstrap, handling everything alone, it just causes so much needless suffering. Facing big challenges almost always requires help from others. The trick is figuring out what kind of help, from who, and how to ask.
And support isn't just one thing, is it?
No, it comes in many forms. Sometimes you need practical help, someone to wash the kids, bring over a meal.
Sure.
Other times it's emotional support, just having someone listen, understand, validate your feelings.
Yeah, empathy.
Or maybe you just need a different perspective, someone outside the situation, to offer a fresh angle you hadn't considered.
Okay. And knowing when you need help and actually asking for it.
Yeah.
That's a skill itself.
It really is. It takes honest self-assessment, recognizing your limits, and yeah, a bit of humility.
And not everyone can give every kind of support.
That's a really important point from the video. Your best friend might be amazing for emotional support, but useless for, say, financial advice. So you need to discern who to turn to for what. And that's where professional support therapists, coaches, mentors can be so valuable. They bring specific knowledge and structured ways of help.
And what about connecting with people going through similar things? Community support.
Oh, that can be incredibly powerful. Just knowing you're not the only one, feeling understood on that deep level, it's hugely validating.
But asking for help can feel really hard sometimes. Vulnerable.
It really can.
Yeah.
It feels like admitting weakness, doesn't it? And our culture often pushes that idea of self-reliance really hard, which is exactly why the video suggests proactively building your support network.
Like before you desperately need it.
Exactly. Cultivating those relationships when things are relatively calm creates that foundation of trust and mutual aid you can draw on later.
And it's a two-way street, right? Giving support too.
Absolutely. Giving and receiving support reminds us we're all connected, part of this shared human experience. And ultimately, having the right support just multiplies your strength, your resources, your perspective.
Okay, now, moving through all this difficulty, the video talks about something really deep, finding meaning in it all.
This is about extracting purpose or value from experiences we definitely wouldn't have chosen.
It's not saying the suffering is good.
No, not at all. But it speaks to our amazing human ability to create significance, even from painful situations. Remember that Viktor Frankl quote the video alluded to?
About suffering, ceasing to be suffering when it finds a meaning.
Exact. Finding that meaning doesn't erase the pain, but it can profoundly change our relationship.
And how does that meaning emerge? What does it look like?
It can come in different ways. Maybe connecting more deeply with your core values because or seeing how navigating your struggle might somehow help others down the line, or simply through the personal growth, the compassion, wisdom, appreciation that comes from getting through it.
But the timing matters here, doesn't it? You can't force meaning too early.
That's a crucial point. Trying to slap a positive meaning onto raw pain too soon can feel dismissive, invalidating.
Right.
Meaning often emerges later, after you've had time to just sit with the impact, process it. And the stories we tell ourselves about our experiences, those narratives evolve over time. and help place the struggle into a bigger picture.
It feels like a fundamental human need, finding meaning.
It really does. Regardless of specific beliefs, we seem wired to seek meaning, and finding it within our struggles can create this deeper connection to ourselves, to others who get it, maybe even to humanity as a whole.
And when we navigate these struggles with intention, with awareness, the video suggests we can actually be transformed by them. Not just survive, but change in positive ways.
Yes, the idea of post-traumatic growth, it's fascinating.
Post-traumatic growth, what does that actually mean?
It means that after going through significant adversity, some people report really positive psychological things like a deeper appreciation for life itself,
Okay.
developing more meaningful, authentic relationships, discovering a greater sense of personal strength they didn't know they had, seeing new possibilities open up, maybe even experiencing spiritual growth. It's like the growth happens not despite the struggle, but somehow because of it.
So certain strengths or insights only come through facing the really hard stuff.
It often seems that way. Like facing deep fears can build a kind of bedrock confidence. Enduring loss can uncover a resilience you never imagined. Pushing your limits reveals strengths you didn't know were there.
And the video mentions some paradoxical shifts.
Yeah, like becoming both more serious about what matters, but also maybe more lighthearted day to day.
Interesting.
More realistic, but also more appreciative of small joy. Relationships forged in shared struggle can have this incredible depth and honor. And your relationship with yourself changes more self-knowledge, more self-trust, definitely more self-compassion.
But it's really important to remember, this growth doesn't just erase the pain, right? The grief or sadness can still be there.
Absolutely. Transformation coexists with grief. It's not about replacing the loss, but the meaning, the value created from the suffering, that can be incredibly real and significant.
And it really underscores how much our responses matter, not just for getting through it, but for who we become on the other side.
Exactly. Now, one thing that's almost always present in struggle is uncertainty.
Ah, yes, the not knowing.
Right. Not knowing how it will turn out, how long it will last, that can be incredibly difficult. Our brains hate uncertainty.
Why is that?
Evolutionarily, predictability meant safety. So we're kind of wired to resist the unknown, to seek certainty.
Which can lead us to jump to conclusions.
Exactly. We grasp at false certainty, premature assumptions, rigid belief, just for that temporary feeling of relief, even if it's not accurate.
So how do we get better at living with uncertainty? What skills do we need?
Well, the video suggests a few things. Discernment first, figuring out what can I actually know here, what can I influence, and what's just totally beyond my control.
Okay, sorting it out.
And then recognizing your own reactions to uncertainty. Do you get anxious, irritable? Do you just try to avoid thinking about it?
Becoming aware of your patterns again.
Yes. And then cultivating tolerance for that discomfort. Mindfulness can help here, just noticing the feeling of not knowing without getting totally lost in it. Understanding that uncertainty itself isn't necessarily dangerous.
And thinking more.
Yeah.
Provisionally. Like holding possibilities without needing to land on one answer.
Exactly. And ultimately, it's about shifting where you find your security. Not in external predictability, because that's often an illusion anyway.
Right.
But in your own capacity to respond, to adapt, to cope, whatever happens.
Trusting yourself more than the circumstances.
Well put. It's learning to move forward without all the answers, to be okay even when things are unresolved. And that transformed relationship with the unknown, it actually frees you up to live more fully.
How so?
You become more willing to take risks, pursue goals, embrace new things, stay open to unexpected good stuff too.
Okay. And finally, the video brings us to acceptance.
Which is kind of beyond all the active strategies. It's about acknowledging and making peace with the things that simply cannot be changed.
That sounds hard, especially when things feel unfair.
It is hard. Our instinct is often to fight, to resist what we don't want. But the video suggests that sometimes clinging to that resistance, especially with permanent losses or limitations you can't alter, just adds another layer of suffering.
So acceptance isn't giving up.
No, true acceptance isn't passive resignation. It's clearly seeing and acknowledging reality. This is how it is, without denying it or adding drama to it, recognizing what you can change and what you truly cannot.
And it's a process, right? Not a one-time switch flip.
Oh, definitely. Often it involves repeated moments of surrender, of letting go of the fight against the unchangeable.
And the paradox is, sometimes accepting what is opens up new options.
Exactly. When you stop pouring energy into resisting the unchangeable, that energy gets freed up. You might see possibilities for constructive action within the reality you've accepted, possibilities you were blind to before.
It sounds like ancient wisdom, really.
It is. You see it in Buddhist ideas about suffering coming from resistance and attachment. You see it in Stoic philosophy, focusing on what's in our control versus external events.
So acceptance doesn't mean you stop trying to improve things where you can.
Not at all. But it provides a more grounded, realistic foundation for figuring out how to respond constructively to the difficulties that are actually present.
Okay. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the art of struggle, what's the big takeaway?
I think the core message is that struggle isn't just some unfortunate interruption. It's fundamental. It's part of being human. And crucially, it holds this incredible potential for learning and transformation.
And even though our specific challenges are all different,
Right.
that underlying experience, facing difficulty, dealing with resistance, that's something that really connects us all, doesn't it?
It really does. There's a shared vulnerability there, but also a shared capacity for resilience. Recognizing that can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it fosters empathy, connection. So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. As you navigate whatever you're facing,
Take a moment to think about how embracing these different aspects of struggle, tuning into your inner world, practicing persistence, seeking support, finding meaning, even leaning into acceptance.
Yeah.
How might doing that not only help you get through the current challenge, but actually help you cultivate a richer, more meaningful, more resilient life overall?
That's a great question to sit with. What unexpected lessons have your own struggles actually taught you? Definitely something worth reflecting on.